Hey guys, welcome back. Another quick one-to-one with a wedding photographer. We've done the "Have you shot my wedding venue before?" video, so you can see that one linked in somewhere. And Jackson, that one. And thank you for entertaining me and having a bit of a chat with this one.
Yeah.
So do you want to just let you do before a quick intro, who you are, what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Jack, wedding photographer for Project Valentine, and just shoot weddings. That's pretty much it.
You've been shooting for a while.
6 years.
6 years. A lot of weddings.
A lot of weddings. Yeah. The idea was to not work weekends. Was the theory of getting out of retail was I'll do this, and then now it's weekend work. So opposite idea, but yeah, enjoy it. So that's what matters.
So the one thing that we looked at when we did the other video was, have you shot my wedding venue before? So for the people that haven't watched that and they're watching this first, yeah. Do you think it's important for a photographer to have shot at a wedding venue?
No. There's just way too many factors that go into a day, that it just makes it irrelevant, to be honest. I think as long as someone has shot a number of weddings and knows the format, the formula, and that's what's most important, really. There's a difference between shooting a wedding for the first time as a newcomer who's not shot before, and then someone who's shot weddings week in, week out.
I've spoken to you about some of the first weddings that you've shot,
yeah,
and you've heard of some of the first weddings that I've shot, and there seems to be more and more people just coming out of workshops,
yeah,
and then charging 1,200-1,500 quid a wedding.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of an industry that people like the idea, I think, of weddings because it's a nice day to be a part of.
Which it is. It's an amazing thing to be part of.
Yeah, but then having a camera and then sort of taking nice portraits is one element of a wedding. And obviously, if you display, mainly portraits, if that's a big part of your work, and that's great, but it's very important to sort of see a wedding from start to finish. I think even Helen mentioned in the previous video that she's happy to sort of showcase brides and grooms, her full weddings, because they want to see consistency from start to finish. It's not just portraits that people should invest in. They should be looking for consistency from the morning through to whenever they sort of clock off and leave at the end of the day.
So for brides and grooms watching this, what sort of advice can you give them to look for that consistency?
Check out blogs. So if you go on someone's website, look at portfolio, look at the homepage, but that's going to tend to be some of their favourite shots that hopefully speak to the type of couples the most. But then at the same time, hit that blog button and go through some weddings where you can see a little bit more detail from the morning and through to the night. So it's not just those key killer shots, and that's the same with looking at the social media accounts, so it's Instagram and Facebook. If they're only posting one or two images from the wedding, but they're delivering 350 images or more, then you're going to see some more of that action shots and some of the other stuff. So it's not just one good shot from a wedding. What else have they done for that sort of 8 to 12 hour shift? There's got to be more to it. So just to sort of dig a little deeper, really.
Do you think it's important to have a second photographer for a couple and stuff, or is it not essential?
Again, it's totally up to the couple. I meet couples where the groom just simply doesn't want his morning captured. He's not that bothered about it. Some of them, it's the other half wants to see the side of the story from the morning, so that when they look back over the pictures, they can see both mornings happening. If one other side isn't that interested, then why should it be a selling point that you've got two people on the day? Because you wouldn't necessarily then need two at bridal prep, for example. So I wouldn't necessarily say you have to have it. It's definitely a preference thing on the couple. I don't think it should be used as a focal selling point. I still think that comes down more to the work. And most photographers who, like myself, it's a sole business for myself, then the option is there to add a second photographer anyway. So for those that do want it, it's not as if it's ruled out entirely. The option is there.
So when I've been looking at sort of the top questions that you asked, one of the big ones that comes up is what happens if you're ill, or what happens if you can't make a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a massively important thing that brides and grooms know what we do in that situation. It sounds daft, but what plans do you put in place? What can photographers put in place?
Yeah, I think getting out there anyway, as when you're working for yourself, there's there's a lot to be said for people who go out there and network. It's good for your business, it's good for yourself, especially if you're working on your own. You're not going to be sort of doing this permanently on your own. But then, like you said, I think then that sort of gives you the comfort to know that if you were ill, and I think in most cases you'd have to be very, 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 very ill for not turn into for a wedding. You know you've got that reliability of a good circle of friends that you can reach to, and they'll happily as well search if they're not free. They'd sort of help spread the word, and it would definitely be covered. So I think that's, for a lot of that, it's just getting out there and just making sure that it's good for your business, but you're just getting out there and just sort of broadening that social circle, just so you've got all bases covered. No one's going to plan excessively to the point where it's like, I plan a backup photographer for every wedding. That would just be too extreme.
Yeah.
It would just be too much pressure.
I think there's circumstances where you have to plan that.
Yeah.
Because I did that with you when I found out that my wife was going to have a baby. Yeah. Yeah. I sort of planned around that and had you and other people sort of on standby or with me at the weddings. And I think in that case, then it's great, but you can't. No. Like you say, you can't forecast for the ill.
It's sort of one of those things where if you feel a bit run down and you're not looking after yourself, then you sort of just need to make sure that you are fighting fit and you're ready to do the job. And I think most people in this industry, that's the mentality. I think creatives as a sort of being, that's just how we are anyway. We overanalyze a lot of things and we overplan. And again, that all comes down to the whole how experienced they are. Really, obviously people took a gamble in myself when I started my business because I was a newcomer. So it comes with a risk depending on what people are willing to pay. But I think if you're paying what it was considered the average, then you probably are in safer hands. So
looking through sort of the top questions that get asked and the stuff that blogs say that they should ask wedding photographers, the next one that struck a chord with me is the equipment that we use. And I just don't think it's a massively relevant question for brides and grooms to be asking unless they're into photography.
I think that to most people would probably, you could tell them all you want. It's like if I go to a car garage and ask about cars, as soon as they start going into car lingo, I can nod my head all I want and be like, but I have no idea what they're talking about.
Because the other thing is, like, you've changed systems 3 times. So you've gone Canon, Fuji, then Sony. And there's been a consistency when you've changed systems that from my point of view, your stuff hasn't changed. Do you think that's just a thing with blogs telling people they should be asking the questions?
I think obviously anyone who's planning such an event is going to take advice because they haven't done it before. Everything is new to bride and grooms more often than not. So they're going to read these blogs which carry a lot of pack a lot of punch, I guess, because they are well established. So what they sometimes read is they think is good advice. And it's one of them questions. If someone asks you, it takes you 3 seconds just to answer it, and like you said, if it makes them feel more comfortable, great. I think some of them just worry about the idea, like you said, if something breaks, have you got something else in place? Not just yourself, but your gear and your equipment. They just want to make sure that you're ticking all the boxes, so that they know that what they're investing in is a genuine thing and something that is worth the investment, I guess. So.
Totally, and finally, do you think it matters if a photographer is full-time or part-time?
There's a lot of factors into what some people are happy just to do it that way because the job they enjoy, financially it's safer and that's what they need, but that doesn't mean someone who's part-time doesn't have as much passion to do something. And I think if anything, that should be the driving factor over whether someone's part-time or full-time. It's more how invested and actually interested are they in it, as opposed to is it just a full-time job, because that doesn't really make a difference to the actual outcome of the images. No,
thank you so much for having a chat with us, and thanks for doing the have you shot my venue before video with us. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Sweet.